Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim, page 4, which discusses the law that when a woman makes a neder, a promise, or a vow, and she says, I'm going to forbid such and such an item on myself. So if she's living by her father, that father has the right to annul, to remove that neder, that vow, and therefore it's as though it does not take place, as though she said nothing. And so too is the law. The husband also has this right if his wife would make such a neder. The question is, as we mentioned before, what if a father or a husband hears the woman saying that I wish to be a nazirah, which, as we mentioned, forbids her from getting haircut, becoming impure, and also consuming grape products or drinking wine. So we say that they also have the right to annul that upon hearing it. And the Talmud here wonders, why do we need a separate mentioning that the law is the same? We can just obviously deduce one from the other. And the Talmud makes a huge distinction, because when a person says this neder, I'm not going to do such and such, I will do such and such, that is something which has no time connected to it, which means it is something which is a permanent commitment. And because of that, it's self-understood that the father, the husband, may have a right, or does have a right, to be able to speak up and to say, no, this is something which will affect our home potentially on a permanent basis. If you're going to forbid something on yourself, it could also cause problems and forbid other people from enjoying the item as well, because it's something in which you can't partake in. However, when it comes to a nazir is only for the period of 30 days. That commitment is not a long-time, life-altering change. And therefore, one would think, so maybe when it comes to a nazir, if she makes that statement, the law should be different. Maybe we should say that the husband or the father has no right to annul it. After all, it's only for 30 days. It's not the biggest deal. So on this, that's the reason why we mention, yes, they also have a right, even though it's only for a shorter period of time, to be able to annul her declaration of becoming a nazir, nazirah. And we see from here a couple of ideas. First of all, the notion that even though it may only be for 30 days, sometimes in life, it's not just the amount of time, but it's the thought process. It's the idea that you're forbidding things upon yourself. And this is something which obviously was without communication of the spouse, or in this case, also the father, that they just decided to do something. Now, even though it's true, again, that it's only for a temporary amount of time, but the fact that you made this declaration without any communication with this other person who lives in your house, that shows a lack of potential sensitivity of the recognition that what you do is going to affect others as well. But we also see in this process that there is a potential distinction in, again, the way the Talmud thinks, that when you do something for a short amount of time as opposed to doing something for a long period of time. We know that a lot of times a person can do something for 30 days. A person can go on a diet for 30 days. You can decide to exercise for 30 days. But that's not considered to be a lifetime commitment. So the Talmud here does, at least in the thought process, recognize that there is a huge difference between doing something for a short period of time in which may not necessarily have such a major effect as opposed to doing something long term. So again, focusing on a diet or focusing on exercise, someone who does it for a very short period of time may not necessarily see any results. However, if a person decides instead to make it into a lifetime commitment, something which is a life-altering change, then you will see the difference.